Is there another dimension to existence? Do you really think when people die, that's the end of the journey? And what's the purpose of life, really? Where did we all come from? It's most questions most people ask. And so when we find ourselves here on earth as humans, these questions are thrown. Why are we here? What are we doing here? Who am I? Where am I from? Some people find answers from their parents. Some people find answers from their community. Some people find answers from outside their community. Some people find answers through religion. Some people find answers through their experiences here on earth. And some find answers through philosophy, spirituality, or just personal revelation. Which brings about the question, when we live here as humans, where do we go to? What actually happens? There are some who have had experience of being able to interact with their loved ones who were once here but had passed on. Humanity always have that question, and of course at the back of our consciousness does bring some attestation to that truth as well. And in some ways, like I initially stated, religion or spirituality opens up and broadens an experience when it comes to answers to these questions. And as like most people, some loved ones have passed on, and the passing on of these loved ones can truly be painful. But the great reality is that everyone on earth is going to pass on, just like the previous generation before us and so many people who have passed on. During COVID-19, millions of people passed on, and that was a great loss to the earth. They have passed on. We who remain on earth, sometime it's going to be each and everyone's turn, and so the circle continues. So the question is, what happens when we pass on? Is it that once we pass on, that's the end of the journey? That's the end of our relationship with our loved ones here on earth? Does it mean that, for example, John's parents who have passed on and just completely forgot about John? Does that mean that John is going to forget about his parents entirely just because they had passed on? So if John is not able to forget entirely his parents, the question is, have the parents forgotten entirely about John? Or are they still in this spiritual realm, in existence, doing their utmost best to protect their son who is still here on earth, to protect the interest of the son who is still here on it, to be able to guide aright their son in order to be able to combat the challenges here on earth? It's a question that one should be able to reflect on. And this is where religion comes in. Religion teaches you one thing, experience teaches you another, spirituality teaches you another. So if one becomes enclosed to life, for example, putting oneself in a box, then you're not able to see the light around you, but the darkness within you. And where I'm going with this is that religion teaches you one way of seeing the world, but spirituality teaches you another. And if we have to address any religion, it has to be Christianity, because that's what I relate with. I have found that Christianity does not teach ancestorship. It did write about it, but it does not allow the practice, which is an irony, because in the society that we live today, we have records. For example, birth records, death records. What do you think these records are there for? They are there for tracing one's lineage. When a child is born, many years down the lane, if the child wants to get to understand their lineage, all they need to do is to get the birth record and also find the death record, which is the same thing as ancestry. And this is where ancestorship comes in. That's what I've recently found about the ancient African practice. This is where the social construct that we have today comes from. The belief is that for you to be able to understand who you are, where you come from, who you are related with, why you behave in a certain way, you need to understand who your ancestors are, and you need to be able to give honor to your ancestors. Personally, this has helped me to be able to go in research and dig deep into the ancient African practices. And it has been an eye-opener for me because it has helped me to appreciate the African culture much better as opposed to before, because the African culture is rich and is full of great wisdom if one can patiently research deeply into it. Another aspect that is common amongst humanity is giving honor, respect, and showing courtesy to one another. Every human being wants to be respected. Every human being wants to be treated kindly. Every human being expects to be treated with courtesy. So it's the same thing that is entailed in ancestorship. It's the continuous show of courtesy to our loved ones who were once here with us, who were so dear to us, and showing that we have not forgotten them. Once they pass on, why should we now stop showing such courtesy, honor, and respect to them? So at the end of the day, like I said initially, every human being is going to die. And the question is, since you are still here on earth and you believe that your ancestors are far gone, you are now disconnected from them, you don't have anything to do with them, there's no need to continue to honor them or show them respect, like in case of libation to our ancestors. Remember that sooner or later it's going to be everyone's turn. So I wonder, when you pass on from this earth and looking down as an ancestor to those loved ones who you have left behind, seeing that they have completely forgotten about you and moved on, would that not make you feel unvalued? Because what goes around comes around. Because at the end of the day, we treat others just the way we want to be treated. Ancestorship is the foundation of who we are, the ones who existed so that we can exist. And our essence here is that our ancestors has completed their journey here on earth, but they still continue to live because we are here and we are part of them. They have passed on the baton to us, just as we will pass on the baton to the next generation, to our children, and our children will do likewise to our grandchildren and the great-grandchildren, and so on. We are a continuation of the lineage of our ancestors. They are us and we are them. The journey, it might be ended for their physical being, but as part of their bloodline, we who are still here on earth continue to carry on their legacy and are able to teach it to the next generation so they can pass on the baton. That's life. It's a continuous cycle. It never ends. That's how we live forever. And that's how God lives in us. The Creator is in us. In each and every one of us human beings. And even in nature, when you look around and you pay close attention spiritually, and when I say spiritually, I don't mean you going to the spirit. No, I mean with your 5 senses, your compassion, your conscience, your mind, you will see the Creator in everything and in you, because He lives in us. And that's why our conscience is always there, pricking us when we do wrong. Ancestors are always around us, guiding us aright, keeping us safe, protecting us. It is essential that we continue to honor our ancestors, especially for all the great roles that they played. They must never be forgotten. We cannot forget them, because one day it's going to be our turn. Honor your ancestors. They are you and you are them. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Open up to your spirituality so you can evolve. Take care now. Bye.